Hey everyone, so today's video is actually going to be on melee versus range matchups, how to play melee into ranged. So I'm actually going to use an example of a Nautilus versus a Nivea. This is a game I actually played this morning. So first of all, going into this game, um, I actually misplay the wave level 1, and I want to, rather than skip over it, I want to show you it and what, so you know what to do next time when you're level 1. So I'll play it out first, show you what I do. What do I do wrong here? Okay, what's wrong with this play? So first of all, when you're playing melee champions mid, there's only two things you can do level 1, in my opinion. Or two things no, there's three things you can do, but there's two that I recommend. If you know that the enemy mid laner is invading or going to be late to lane and you have a lot of wave clear level 1, sometimes you can do this on Galio because you have your passive in your Q. Sometimes you can do it on Nautilus if I don't know if you start W or maybe and he's really late to lane. Maybe on Echo you can do it as well. But the main which is pushing the wave really, really, really quickly, getting it into tower. And what that actually does is the wave then hits the tower, and then that will create a slow push back to you for like the next few levels 2 and 3. And the reason that's good is when you're a melee mid laner, generally you start to get strong in power spike around level 2, 3. And then the wave will be starting to build outside your tower, which would create ganks that are for um, you and your jungler. And because that's the other huge thing about melee matchups, when you're playing melee matchups into range, is that you need to abuse the fact that you generally either have kill threat in a long lane with your jungler or gank setup in a lot of CC. So what I should have done here is because I knew that I thought I could, but I actually couldn't get the wave in before Nivea gets to lane, is that I should have just sat back, relaxed, let Nivea push me in, and just play the last shit and minimize as much as I can. So fast forward this a little bit. This is all really bad, and the reason I'm doing this is I'm fully committing trading my HP just to get the wave in because I know I fucked up. Because now if I don't fully commit, it's just gonna stay frozen in this spot like this. So what I'm trying to do again here is try and take as little damage as possible, but get this wave in, and now I'm able to reset the wave. So what I do here is I'm like, okay, I've accepted reality. I've used two corrupting pots. Like this is really, really bad as a melee champion into range. You generally want to give, like I said, levels 1 and 2, and then it conserve as many corrupting pots as possible. And the reason you want to conserve as many corrupting pots or pots as possible is that when you go for these extended trades and you all in, you're not going to be able to kill them usually in one combo, obviously. So you're going to have to use that regen to back up and then rinse and repeat. So right now, I'm allowing Anivia to push me in. I know that I'm also versing an Elise, so level 2, level 3 Elise is going to be looked to be active on the map. So again, I'm just see how I'm like leaning on this side. If I was leaning on this side, it uh would have actually been scary for me. But I end up trying to help my Lee Sin, and I know Lee Sin's in here. I mean, Elise is here somewhere. And I thought he was up here or something, but Elise ends up actually ganking top, which is, I mean, nothing I can do about it. So look at this. And Nivea's building a wave against me. Like I said, level 2 and 3, just because I crashed that wave and it's pushing into me. So what do you want to do as a melee champion right now? You may ask. Okay, so what you want to be doing is thinning the wave as much as you can without trying to dodge skill shots and not take too much damage because you don't want this wave to crash into the tower. You ideally want to have it held outside your tower here. So what I'm trying to do, if you see me, I'm trying to get a Nivea. This is a really, really, actually really super important tip. See how I'm standing outside the wave? So the reason that is if a Nivea throws a Q and I'm standing on top of the wave, he's going to be able to push the wave simultaneously while poking me. But if I stand to the side like this, a Nivea has to make a choice between, okay, am I A, going to look for poke on Nautilus, or am I B, going to push that wave and try and get into tower? So what I try to do here is walk up, thin the wave with my E, and my aim is to keep thinning it and keeping it outside my tower. And again, what this is going to do is it's going to create threat onto a Nivea, and then the junglers are going to see this, an overextended mid laner, and then they're most likely going to look to capitalize. If your jungler's a farming jungler, like maybe Nocturne or something, and early he can't gank, then in these matchups, generally you're just gonna have to accept reality and catch waves under tower for at least for the early game. And then now look here, he's in a long lane. I'm able to proc my aftershock. I can flash out, and now these sort of 2v2 skirmishes are really favorable for ranged melee matchups. Because again, I have more CC, I have more sustainability, like more durability, sorry, and we end up winning this 2v2, which is really nice. And then again, remember, what you want to do when you win a skirmish is push, push, push. I actually wanted to get Lee Sin to push this with me, but I knew that he had to go get Scuttle because he kind of got screwed over in early game, so I didn't want to bother him here. Next, what do? Insta base, come back. So this is huge now. He does not have TP. So when you're playing any of these melee matchups, and that's why a lot of echoes, um, you see a lot of Galio's take TP, Nautilus take TP. A lot of these melee mid laners actually should a lot of the time take TP because it gets them through the early game. Because obviously your first few levels are pretty poor, and then you're gonna have to TP back to lane. But because I was actually able to shove out, I have two choices. Okay, one, I can hold my TP and just walk back to lane here, and so conserve my TP, or I can keep up the tempo of the game, just use my TP to get back in lane, and what's this going to do? It's going to keep Anivia in lane, because she can't reset. So I see Anivia here trying to see us all these creeps that I built under tower, bang, I TP back. Now imagine if you're in Anivia's shoes right now. There's so many things Nautilus can do. I can roam, I can push, I can keep constantly shove this in. I can actually freeze because Anivia's too scared with no flash to walk up. I can actually freeze and just pull the wave to the side. But again, because I'm Nautilus and I'm not like if I'm a different champ, like say a different assassin, I can't think off the top of my head, but someone who wants to just kill 1v1, then maybe freezing is a good idea and denying CS because he would either have to base or he was going to overextend the lane and he's going to die. So because I'm Nautilus and I don't really feel like going for 1v1 kills, I want to kind of constantly roam. That's the style of my mid lane, my melee champion. I decide to keep pushing, and what this is going to do is going to deter Anivia from basing. And see how OP this is for my team. Not only now am I going to be constantly shoving, and Nivea's going to be sitting under tower whole game, and I'm going to be able to do things like this, constantly just moving up, um, getting deep vision whenever I can. I actually don't have a ward, but just using Scry's Bloom, constantly getting vision as much as I can on the enemy jungler, and threatening one side of the map. And again, I'm constantly coming back to the wave as it's crashing, just so I can lock in the enemy mid laner in lane. And look again, he's still stuck here and exerting no pressure. And again, you may ask, should you have frozen it and denied CS and things like that? But again, my style here, I just wanted to constantly put pressure on the map and duck out of vision. Now again, he can't even gank me because again, he's got no mana. He stayed in lane too long. I've got heaps of XP because I haven't missed any XP because I've just able to TP back, and now I can just like 1v2. This is the other strong thing. If you are TP versus no TP, they're not going to have the resources to be able to kill you. So generally, the jungler is really frustrated as well. Nearly get a hook on Alicia. Um, and yeah, this is just domination. So again, right now, since Anivia is dead, I just want to constantly push, deny as much CS as I can, reset. Bang. Okay. Now I just come back to lane. Anivia actually gets to push out now and it's got mana. And I see Anivia roam here. And then I make a decision. I'm like, well, the play's over bot. I can just push mid here. And another tip, actually, I forgot to mention, when playing melee mids, I really like to take Dematerializer because a lot of the time when you're playing melee mids, your wave clear isn't that exceptional. So and generally melee mids thrive in roaming and skirmishing, and they want to get out of lane. I mean, obviously, there are melee champs that like Zed who can just kill 1v1 and things like that. But majority of the time, melee champions want to roam, and what Dematerializer allows you to do is push and move. Because you can just shove the wave so quickly now, because I don't have to deal with the cannon. You just dematerialize the cannon and move. And now look what I do. Dematerialize, and now I'm looking top, and I see Fiora looking to like push in Jax. So Fiora again, instead of just waiting for us to come, tries to all in and just dies 1v1, which is quite frustrating. But again, He ends up flashing and getting out. My next tip as a melee roamer or melee champion into range is when you're going for these roams, and say you fail a roam and your laner dies that you go to roam to, it's better to soak the CS in that lane rather than go all the way back mid and have no CS to go to, because that's how you get behind in farm. And look, even though I've roamed like a lot of times now, I'm still up in CS. And my jungler dies, my mid laner, whatever. Um, and the only reason I don't base there is because I thought they were going to go straight to dragon and I actually wanted to fight here. So again, the premise now for the remainder of the laning phase anyway is I want to push majority of the time, and if I can't push, let's just say for example, me and Anivia are just sitting here in lane, and I can't out push Anivia. What I'm going to do is let her push me in, wait for my jungler to and try and thin it as much as I can so it doesn't crash into the tower. And then when my jungler's nearby, then I'll look to all in with my ultimate. I'll look to all in with my flash Q. I'll look to all in the long lane. So generally that's like the premise when I play these matchups. And again, the key is your early game. If you can survive your early game through good wave manipulation, managing your resources, dodging those early skill shots, getting a great first back, and then playing the tempo game in terms of wave push, and playing to your strengths. Generally, you're gonna have a good game. All right, so I'm going to quickly go into another VOD and then I'm going to show you one other tip you need to implement. So the next concept I want to explain to you is, so when you're playing melee champions versus ranged, a huge mistake that I see a lot of people, especially, in gold, platinum, even diamond make, is that they're too scared to trade HP for the wave. And so basically this is like playing like a bitch. And when you play like a bitch when you're playing a melee champion, you get punished really hard. So I'm going to show you two examples of me kind of willing to trade HP for the wave just so I can get a roam off or get out of the lane a little bit. So, and again, this is the second option. Again, the first option is, having the lane all the way up in, the wave, sorry, all the way up in your lane and looking to all in them and play for the kill 1v1. But this is a second style when you play melee champions and when you're versing ranged, you just want to push them using a wave or just trade HP, using your sustain, like having a corrupting pot dark seal here, just so you can impact the map. So, or if you feel like you can't all in them, they have a champion where you can't kill. So here, I know what I want to do right now is make sure this wave gets in. And let's just say, this is kind of a example. It's not the best example, but let's just say you're really scared and you're like, oh, Vlad has everything. He has ignite, flash, and like I don't want to trade too much HP. If I don't if I just back up here, I'll be all good. But what you'll see a lot of laners do in these sort of positions, in this specific position, like the wave's too big anyway. But if there's a wave coming, they'll walk at you like this, just so they get to hold out the wave outside their tower. But what you got to do is like this. You got to not bitch it. Just trade onto them and start hitting the wave. And again, right now, I'm just trying to get this wave in so I can push. And I had to trade a bit of HP here, but this is going to allow me to do anything. I can now reset, I can roam, I can get vision, I can do a lot of different things. I actually have probably a better example here, where again, here, the wave's a little bit more even. I know that I kind of don't want to be stuck in this wave. So again, look, I just trade onto him like this, knowing that my abilities are also going to hit the wave, so it can get this wave into the tower. And right now, again, it gets pushed into the tower, which frees me up to do a few things. I can roam, reset, or look to do something. So again, to reiterate one more time, this is the other option. Rather than going for the kill 1v1, this is to kind of either look for a reset, look for a roam or something like that. And again, this is just not playing like a bitch. This is willing to trade your HP for the wave so you can do something. And say, this goes for any other range versus melee matchup. Like before when I was playing Nautilus. If I wasn't willing to trade onto the Anivia, I'm just gonna get poked under tower and I'm gonna die. So hopefully these few little tips can help you up your game in a melee versus range matchup. If there's any specific melee versus range that you want me to go into, I can actually make a specific clip on that. But let me know if this helps. And then I'm going to try and be doing more specific videos in the future. Thanks for watching and stay tuned.